This is a special video for Jim Bartow in Buda, Illinois, not too far from Peoria. He has a strip till toolbar. 3 products are going down, and we're using 2KC Series 2 Weighmaster and a 2KP taps formulator and a 2KR blender. And this is a special blender because it'll inject into the ammonia and also into the 2KP. So it has different orifice selections and different sizing. And it's controlled by a Trimble FMX 1000, and you can see behind me some of the equipment and where the Trimble ECUs are mounted, and Robert has been able to identify all of the ECUs that go to the various systems. So we'll explain a little bit more about that. And this is the Trimble control unit here, of course, and we're actually going to fire it up. Right now we're targeted at 10 gallons per acre on the 2KP, 30 pounds in per acre on the 2KC, and we're targeted at 0.25 gallons per acre, a quarter of a gallon, 1 quart on the 2KR, 2KR, 2KP, 2KC, and 2KP. So the liquid is shown on the first upper one here, 2KP, 2KC, NH3, 2KR, so identified. We're actually weighing the material when we work with the 2KC. The other products in the 2KR and the 2KP are done by liquid or gallons per acre. Pounds per acre on the NH3, gallons per acre on these two. So we've been testing pretty strongly here, and we're finding some very unique performance has occurred. And we have calibrated, done it against a scale on the liquid systems, making sure everything is on the money. So the calibration numbers have been added. So we'll cut it off right here. We're going to start and fire up the engines right now next. So Robert, why don't you stand close by, and Alex can get a picture of you, and you can comment from time to time too. We'll stand back a ways.
Don't need to be in the video.
Well, they'd like to see the guy they've been working with. Are you ready, Alex?
I've been ready.
Oh, okay. So we're fired up now. We're running the system, and Robert and I are out here in the lab double checking, and you can see that we have another readout available to us here, and it's the mass meter, and it's reading the flow in pounds per minute of the 2KC. So the 2KC is running at about 30 pounds of N per acre is how it's been set in on the controller. So we have the controller readout for ammonia, but we also have the transmitter readout in the cab, and the transmitter is able to read a lot of interesting characteristics about the flow. We can actually scroll and pick different readings. Now we're doing liters per minute. It was on pounds. You can see there's a little blinking red LED. Now it's totalizing in total pounds. Just touch the screen. There you go. Robert's pretty good at it. We're reading US gallons per minute. Notice the blinking green LED up here means everything is nominal. The system is correct. If we get a red LED here, there's trouble. It's got to shut down. If it's a blinking yellow, something's not quite right, but you still can run. So the green scenario is where we want to be. Mounts up in the cab corner where it's handy, and you can photograph it with your camera. when you change fields. So you can read out the total pounds and go to the totalizer. There it is, total pounds. You can read those pounds, you snap it with your cell phone, snap that picture, send it to the office, and you know when you change fields about how many pounds you applied. Very important feature for custom applications. Well, let's take a quick look over here. This is the 2KC, and it's all been tagged and ready to go for shipment. We're actually running the 2KC at a pretty slow rate of speed. Looks like over here, the tachometer is reading about 208 RPM, and this goes up in the cab also, the tach, and also for pump 2, it's reading the 2KR. There's an actual third tach in this system, and it's in the panel up in the cab. So you'll have not only the tach, but you'll have pressure panels in the cab that has a tach in it to read the 2KP. So today, we're metering directly into the 2KC from the 2KR blender. So we're going to walk around over there and take a look. I've got to keep the video fairly compact here so we don't waste too much time. This is the 2KR, and you'll notice it has a lot of different look to it because it's a blender. It's actually injecting into the flow of the 2KC right here, and it's injecting to the inlet of the pump, as you see up here. There's a check valve there. There's also an orifice there where we actually control the flow against pressure, and it gets the pressure up against the pump, gets a very accurate metering. This is the flow meter, pressure sensor. Flow meter, you can open the door and read the flow remotely. See how many gallons you did apply based on what the flow meter is saying. It's a magnetic reluctance flow meter. We use a very similar one on the 2KP. Now the 2KR is a blender, but it can also be set up as a 2KP. And we'll go into that in another video. We use the same pump that we use on the 2KP to make the commonality. It's a Zeta 85, it's 22 gallons at 550 RPM. We run a motor that has enough torque to keep this turning at high pressure of ammonia. And we use an 8-gallon valve cartridge to run this 80cc motor. The accumulator has been charged here. We've added about 100 pounds of nitrogen into this bladder type accumulator. And the pump is a diaphragm pump. We call it Nasty Nancy. And so it can handle a lot of dissimilar materials, including chloride. So this is a very durable pump and usable with a lot of strange materials that might corrode other types of iron pumps or aluminum parts and components. Almost everything in this system is stainless steel. And of course we can read the pressures right here. This is the adjustable bypass that takes it back to the top of the tank. And then down in here we have the baseline bypass, and this goes to the top of the tank. And this allows us to turn the pump at about 80 RPM, and then it provides a baseline so there's no response issues of start and stop. And then it might only move like 2 or 3 RPM at very low flows. So it runs between 80 and 85 typically when you start injecting into the system. So the baseline bypass establishes a new threshold, the bottom end of the pump. And this is the adjustable bypass that we set at 300 PSI. Always make sure that your bypass lines always go to the top of the tank, and they must go to the tank. We don't want you looping around and going back into the filter and taking shortcuts. It always goes back to the top of the tank. There's some more explain up on that, but we'll get with you. If you want to make a shortcut, we'll have a little talk with you. So this explains the 2KR. You see it's pulsing a little bit. This diaphragm is set at about 100, but it's holding the needle pretty doggone steady up here. And we're at about a quart of flow per minute, and it takes about 2 minutes to deliver a full 1 gallon rate. And so basically we're applying at about 1 to 2 quarts at this very low end. Those are in the charts. You can take a look at the charts and begin to understand it. You may actually establish your own charts when you're in the field, because you've got all the dynamics of the system running. Well, that's the ultimate place to build a chart when you know everything's correct. A little clicking noise you hear is the 2kc, and that's the vane sliding back and forth. And if we give it a little more RPM, the clicking noise will go away. Robert, can you give us some RPM? There. Pressure went up, clicking noise went away. So the injection was made at the absolute maximum pressure, and you almost hit 300 psi over here. Well, Alex, let's go away from the 2KR now. The blender, this is called the 2KR blender. And this is the 2kc Weighmaster that uses the mass flow system. That's the mass flow meter, and underneath the hood here, you'll see the ECUs. And the power supply is in the white body there, and the Trimble ECUs are there. And there's the control system right there, the sensor system for the mass flow. And the transmitter is now moved up into the cab. So some of our previous models had the transmitter mounted back here, and this is the transmitter. And we're getting ready to ship this transmitter with the system, and there's no hitch point coupler with the transmitter. It goes right through the back of the cab window and into the tractor. Okay, so let's go look at the 2kc a little more. We go over here. We could actually shut it down and get rid of some of the background noise. So we're in shutdown right now. And there's videos that will train you on this system. You can actually go up to Exactrix.com and get some training videos that are available to you. This is the inlet for the ammonia. It's coming in. You see all these multiple harness points here. This is for the auto boom shutdown at the individual opener control. And have I missed that, Robert? Is that what these harnesses are here?
Yeah.
Yeah. These harnesses are for each individual boom. It says boom 2. In fact, you can read it. So we're actually going to be shutting down individual row units and sections of control. And we can go right clear across the board and have 12 sections, but I believe this one's set up only in 2 sections. Is that right, Robert?
One section.
One section. Oh, okay. It's going to go as 1 section. Okay. This is the adjustable back pressure valve right here, coming out of the mass meter. The flow is coming this way, and this gives us the ability to keep back pressure on the mass meter under very high pressure and flow conditions, maybe at 100 degrees Fahrenheit in Oklahoma. This is your cooling system here, and the control valve for the cooling system. We call that time bleed. And this is a filter for the injection orifice that goes into the phase shifter. And there's little tags on here that explain everything, what it does, how to do cold starts, etc. And the manual explains quite a lot of stuff, but these tags are removable. And it tells you where key component parts are at without having to pull it down and understand it. There's also a gauge bar that goes with this unit, so there's a mechanical gauge bar that we normally mount on the front left corner of the tractor, of the strip till bar frame. So I think We could explain more about the 2KC, but we don't need to because there's another training document on it. Now, Alex, we're going to walk over here, and this is the 2KP TAPS formulator. So it's on a very similar layout as the 2KR, and the 2KP is actually where your ammonium polyphosphate, your ammonium thiosulfate, your potassium thiosulfate, and your ammoniated zinc will go into this, or chelated micronutrients also, go into this tank, and it's very similar to the 2KR. It has a baseline bypass in case you want to get the pump to operate at a different speed or level of performance. And there's instructions on how to hook up your bypass lines. There's two of them that go to the top of the tank. This is the top of the tank and top of the tank, baseline bypass. We also have on the 2KP an inlet, an alternate inlet here from the 2KR. So we can use the 2KR and inject direct into the inlet manifold of the 2KP as a check valve, and the purpose, of course, is to make a blend on the go. So the 2KR and the 2KP can be connected together, or the 2KR and the 2KC can be connected together. Just depends how you want to make your blends. And in general, there's additional backup information, little ID tags that go on the 2KP. They have not installed those yet on this particular unit. So let's come around here, Alex. We'll get a different angle shot. This has a 6.5 gallon valve cartridge on it, and it has an OMP 50 motor, which is not a real torquey motor, but this will be wound up a little bit faster. And this will deliver the kind of flow we need into the system. This is the final filter for the liquid, and there's a 12-port manifold that mounts on the top of the final filter. You'll notice it's poly construction, and the reason for that is to handle all the different materials that can be applied. Acidic materials are very common. Sometimes there'll be a residual chloride material in the system, so it's got to stay either stainless or polyethylene. Final filter, pressure sensor. This is called the BPOR. This maintains a certain amount of back pressure on the filter. I think that's a real quickie. I don't know how many minutes we got tied up, but 16 minutes right now. So Jim, I hope this helps to supercharge you a little bit. And don't be intimidated as you begin to install this system. We'll have some help there to assist you, and it'll be all coming in one single crate. In fact, I think, Alex, the crate's over here. Let's walk around. And this is the crate that'll be coming in, and we'll be shipping here next week. So on Friday, January 5th, that's the end of the story for right now. And we look forward to seeing you soon, Jim, and Matt, and even Clint will be available to you. You need some help to put this all together. Thank you.